Cheers, my friends, cheers. Welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. My name is Luke. I appreciate you all joining me here at Lone Wolf Mountain. Over the last couple of months, I've been doing adventures here at Lone Wolf Mountain with tents from all around the world. We had the Australian modern swag tent. Unfortunately, that tent was a complete failure. Then we used the Japanese Snow Peak vault tent, and that tent was awesome. That tent was massive, and it did a fantastic job of keeping me safe during a knockdown thunderstorm. It was just non-stop thunder and lightning. If you saw that episode, then you know that everything here at Lone Wolf Mountain was flooded. That was a serious trip. It really was. For this trip, my friends, I have a tent from Sweden. This is the most expensive two-person tent that you can buy. The most expensive 3-season tent that's not ultralight that you can buy. You will not believe how much this tent costs. We will talk more about the tent in just a moment. First things first, let's get some protection set up over the back of the 4Runner here. There is a really good chance of storms, but right now, I'm not worried about that. I'm concerned about sunlight, and that's because it is a really warm day. Current temperature, 83 degrees. What does it feel like with the humidity? About 96. It is hot, it is humid, and I want to get some sun protection put up ASAP. And just like that, everyone, the tarp has been set up. We have protection from the sun, protection from the rain. At the same time, with a tarp of this size, it does a good job of collecting any sort of breeze there is. That way, if there's a small breeze down this way, it gets collected underneath this tarp and kind of goes all the way through. It's a great way of harnessing just about every bit of breeze out there. And it's important when it's hot and humid like it is today. I don't know what it's been like where you live, but here in the mountains of North Carolina, it has been a very hot and humid summer. Definitely one of the worst that I can remember. I guess that's the new normal, you know? Things have certainly been changing as far as the climate goes up here. And that's just how it goes, right? It's always in flux, it's always changing. Anyways, we have the tarp set up. We could move to the tent. I tell you what, why don't we go ahead and do that? I want to talk about this tent anyways. Wait until you see this thing. It's impressive in its own way, but it's not like $800 impressive. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. With this tent here, this is called the Abisko, and it is from a company called Fjallraven, or Fjallraven, however you want to pronounce it. This is a 2-person summertime tent, and folks, it is unbelievably expensive. This, everyone, is the Abisko View tent from Fjallraven. You want to know how much this cost? $800. Don't get me wrong, this is a nice tent. But no, this is not worth $800. Maybe I should put it this way. On paper, this is not worth $800. To the individual, maybe. You know how that goes. Value is certainly in the eye of the beholder. What I like about this tent is that you can easily set it up. This tent features a fly-first design, meaning that you could set this up even when it's raining. Shelter systems like that here in the US are relatively rare. Most you set up the inner and then you put the fly on, but that's certainly not the case here. In addition, this tent is all about airflow. Later on, I'll show that to you. But this side and the other side open up completely, allowing in a ton of air. Talking about the weather, let me go ahead and read you all the forecast for today, for this trip. Chance of rain, 80%. Currently, we are under a flash flood watch. It says here, scattered to numerous thunderstorms are expected to develop this afternoon and persist through the evening. Rainfall rates of up to 5 inches per hour are expected. That type of rainfall has been very much common every single day this summer. With all of this heat, all of this humidity, in the afternoon, the storms fire up. They're not really moving. They just fire up, stay in place, and drop a ton of rain. The good thing about those storms, though, it cools everything down. It'll go from like 84 degrees to like 65 degrees. There will be that much of a temperature drop. It's incredible. That, my friends, is the forecast for today. There's a good chance of storms today, storms and rain tonight, repeat, so on and so forth. It sure is good to be out here at Lone Wolf Mountain, my favorite place in the entire world. Even though, I should mention this, folks, it's a hot day. Because of this gigantic tarp, because it's like collecting all of the air, I'm comfortable. It's not terrible. If I'm out in the sun, it's pretty bad. But as long as I'm underneath this tarp and there's some air moving, I'm perfectly fine. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. You may have noticed, everyone, that I've taken a pole and I have extended out this side of the tarp. That way I can get just a little bit more airflow underneath it. There's a few things that you can do when you're camping out in the summertime where it's really hot, really humid. 1, maximize airflow. 2, shade from the sun. 3, limit your movement. That one can be hard to do, but when it's hot out, it's what you have to do. There's a saying, only donkeys and gringos go hiking in the noonday sun. In this case, we're not hiking, but the thing is, we don't need to be moving unless absolutely necessary. If you want to stay cool, you need airflow and you need to sit still. Once you have your camp set up, you may feel the need to do something, but oftentimes the best course of action when it's hot is just to sit down and relax. Wait for the hottest part of the day to move on and then get to work. Find yourself a nice seat, get a little fan going. That is the best way to beat the heat. Speaking of sitting around, let me grab my little fan. We'll get some airflow. We'll sit and we'll do some talking. Boy, oh boy, girl, oh girl, do I have a story to tell. Folks, this little fan right here makes all the difference in the world. All you need when you're camping in hot conditions like this is airflow, just a little bit of airflow. Something that's as small as this, as inexpensive as this, can be the difference between being miserable and comfortable. As I'm sitting here, I have airflow coming this way and this way. Feels good, everybody. As it stands right now, we have some clouds in the sky. Some are building nicely, but nothing that's looking imposing or threatening or anything like that. So far, this has been a quiet trip. I'm okay if it doesn't rain. That'll be the first time in, I don't know, a couple of months. Literally, it has rained every day. I mean, for at least 2 months. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's some of you who are saying, I'm so sick and tired of hearing him talk about the weather. Every time I come out for a trip, it's always on my mind. It plays such a big role in what I do. The joys of living in a rainforest. I told you all, I have a story to tell. So I actually told this story, let's see, 2 weeks ago. That means it took place, the events took place, I don't know, a month ago, something like that. Roughly 2 weeks ago, I was out for a trip. I was filming an adventure and I told this story. And then when it came time to actually edit the video, it just didn't fit right? It interrupted the flow of the video itself. Cutting out content from a video that I've filmed is pretty common. When I go out on these trips, I usually end up with like 4 hours of video, and I take all of that, I condense it down to something that's 45 minutes to an hour, generally. When it comes to the content that's cut, most of the time it's me talking, so you're not missing much. But so since I already filmed this 2 weeks ago, I will go ahead and just put this clip in, because I did such a good job of telling the story there. The story involves myself meeting up with my good buddy Tony at AB Camping. Some of you may be familiar with his channel. He does a whole lot of like RV style camping, that sort of thing. Here's the story. Listen to it and we'll talk about it in just a minute. Before this storm hits, let's do a little bit of talking. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to talk much once it starts raining. Recently, everyone, I went on a trip and I met up with someone. I'm talking about Tony from AB Camping. I didn't have much time, but we were able to meet up for about 8 hours. And folks, I really did have a good time. His wife, she's lovely. Tony, he's awesome. I have to say though, I was a little bit shocked about a few things. I had heard from another YouTuber who had hung out with Tony in the past that Tony isn't what he expected. He's a great guy, but you know, watching his channel and like meeting him in person, he was shocked a little bit. And so when I met Tony, I have to say, I was shocked. There were two things that caught me off guard a little bit. So for one thing, on his channel, he likes to talk about how tall he is for some reason. He's really obsessed with height. The thing is, he's not that tall. I would say 5'7", maybe, and he's quite skinny. Like, he's a little bit taller than me. I'm not the tallest guy in the whole world, but like, I outweigh him by like 20 or 30 pounds at least. Muscle weight, of course, weighs more. He's not that tall. He talks about height all the time, but his wife is really tall. She's like 7 foot, but lovely woman. I had a great time talking to her. Anyways, the thing that really did capture my attention was something I totally did not expect. It's his hands. He has the smallest hands of anyone I've ever met before. There's a name for it. I want to say it's like hypopecia or something like that, and I could have just butchered that, and I might even be wrong. Anyways, yeah, Tony has super small hands. So small that he has to get his wife to like open up condiment packages and stuff like that. That totally caught me off guard. By watching his videos, you really can't see that his hands are super small because he uses a fisheye lens on his camera. Fisheye lenses are really interesting because they distort the image. They make the center of the image look bigger than the outside, the corners. So yeah, folks, it really caught me off guard. Now, when we met up, I had a feeling that he'd be up to some tricks, right? For an example, oftentimes he would like walk up to me really close, we're about eye to eye, and he would stand up on top of a rock or a basket or something like that. And it would be just for a second, and then he would jump off, and he would do this over and over. And I figured he was up to something. He photoshopped these pictures in addition to using that fisheye lens, so everything's distorted about this picture. This is the real picture straight from my camera. And as you can see there, Tony, he likes to distort himself just a little bit, doesn't he? Here's another interesting picture. So Susie took this one from inside of a bush, and that's why the perspective is so strange. We didn't want Tony to know that we were taking a picture of his hands. You can see my arm and my hand shaking his hand. My arm, muscular, normal. His arm, his hand, small and tiny. It's quite strange, everyone. And naturally, these are legit images. I don't have Photoshop or anything like that. Hanging out with Tony was a blast. I have to say, like, opening up ketchup packets and stuff for him, that's a little bit weird, but hey man, Tony, I got your back, buddy. Make sure to head over to Tony's channel and mention his tiny hands. You can even call him Tiny Hands Tony. He likes it. I feel terrible. For Christmas, I sent him a pair of gloves, and now I know for certain they didn't fit. I feel like such a jerk, you know? That's been eating at me since I met up with Tony. I can't imagine what he thought when he got like those medium-sized gloves and, you know, his tiny little hand just wouldn't even... That's eating at me. I mean, it really is. Hopefully, everyone, I'll be able to move on from this event. Cheers, Tony. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Tiny Hands Tony. It has a ring to it. Driving his tug. Oh yeah. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. That's right, folks. Tony and I, we were able to meet up for roughly 8 hours, and we had a good time talking, hanging out, and whatnot. We did quite a bit of drinking, I have to be honest, which was fun. That's a great way to kind of break the ice. I have to admit, opening up his beer cans because he has tiny hand syndrome, that was a little bit awkward. Awkward for me. I don't know if it was for him or not. I'm sure it was awkward when we shook hands, and there was like my hand and like his baby hand. It was just like, nice to see you, buddy. Anyways, everyone, I have a ton of shout outs to do that I want to do real quick before I forget. With everything that took place with my mother, her passing and whatnot, I've definitely fallen behind, but now it's time to get caught up. The first shout outs go out to 3 very special girls. So the first 2, we have sisters here, Alexa and Scarlett. I hope you both are doing well. I hope you enjoy the gear that Susie and I sent you. Have a great time on your adventures. Alexa and Scarlett just did their first backyard adventure, and it looks like they had a ton of fun. The next shout out goes to a very special girl, Sonora May. She's been practicing her tarp setups using blankets in her bedroom. And I have to say, folks, straight up and honest, she pitches those blankets better than I pitch my tarps by a long shot. I mean, she is really, really good. I hope you enjoy the stuff that we sent you. We actually sent her a tarp, a real tarp, so that she can get outside, do some setups. I hope you have fun. Enjoy. The next shout out goes to my good buddy, Jeff. Thank you so much for the camping lights. I cannot wait to use those. Unfortunately, I didn't bring them. I forgot to, but next time. Thank you, my friend. Teddy, my friend, thank you so much for the coffee and the gas canister carrier. I cannot wait to try both. Thank you so much. Steve, my friend, thank you very much for the sympathy card. I do appreciate it, brother. Nam, thank you so much for the coffee, the noodles, and the cappuccino candy. I cannot wait to try all of that stuff. You are the best. Thank you so much. Lastly, someone sent us, Susie and I, some Thermacell mosquito backpacker repellent. But they didn't include their name. There was nothing in the box. So whoever sent that in, thank you so much. I'm going to assume that they sent that in to hopefully work with black flies. Interestingly enough, at Lone Wolf Mountain, we do not have mosquitoes. We do have black flies and sweat bees. Both can be unbelievably annoying, and I'm going to assume that's what it's for. So my friend, whoever you are, thank you so much for sending that in. I do appreciate it. As I mentioned, everyone, sitting still, not moving, a little bit of airflow, it makes all the difference. If I was out moving around right now, I'd be miserable. But I could sit here with this little fan, the additional airflow, and I am very much comfortable. I'm not sweating my brains out or anything like that. And that's nice. We have thunderstorms to our north, to our east, and to our south. None of these storms pose any issues for us. They're of no threat. They're moving away from us. But there are storms out there. I'm hearing some thunder. It makes sense because, folks, it is quite warm. I just checked the thermometer, 88 degrees right now. The saving grace is the breeze coming through the forest. There is a nice breeze at the moment, and it's making this trip possible. Camping in temps around 90, it's not easy for me. I hate to complain about it, but you're accustomed to what you're accustomed to. And for myself, 90 is pushing it. Only a few times a year does it hit temps this high up here in the mountains. I love hearing that thunder though. Nothing like it. I just noticed that the sky towards the north and also the west is getting dark. We now have thunder. I can't quite tell where this cell is going. It may be coming this direction, or it may just skirt by us. It'll be close no matter what. I can tell that just by the color of the sky, the sound of the thunder, the distance. Things may be about to become interesting. Remind me to tell you all an interesting story. This just came to mind. It has nothing to do with the weather or anything like that. Just something that happened a few days ago. This looks to be a really quick rain shower. It is definitely bringing down the temperature, and that is nice, everybody. We went from 88 degrees to 80 degrees. That is a substantial difference. And just like that, the rain is over, the sun is about to come back out. That rain shower lasted about 15 minutes, and it was just enough to kind of soak everything. The temperature did go down, but the humidity has gone up. It is muggy. My friends, it is dinner time. Let's start off with the green beans. Look at it, now respect it. I cooked these up with Mediterranean seasoning. It's green beans, right? Good. This is the star of the show, right? Speaking of the star of the show, what I have here is a cheeseburger that was seasoned salt, pepper, along with some Cajun seasoning, fried up in some garlic oil. On top of that, pimento cheese, lettuce, tomato. Oh yeah. I do have some ketchup and mayonnaise and mustard if I need it. Will I? I don't know. Let's find out after one more bite of green beans. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. Look at it. You know what to do. I didn't realize that I was this hungry until now. So I'm going to eat dinner and then we'll do some talking. That was by far the best burger that I've had in a long time. As it stands now, it's going on to 8:30. Let me tell you folks, it is crazy warm for being 8:30. This might just be the warmest day out of the entire year. Not to keep talking about the weather, but it is still 81 degrees at 8:30. That's gotta be a record for this area. I don't remember it being this hot last year, so yeah. Definitely warm. Luckily, folks, we got a little bit of rain that did cool things off. We had a good dinner, and now I'm contemplating turning in. It is way too warm tonight to have a fire. And to be honest, I'm actually pretty tired. All of this heat, it's been sucking my energy. Okay, here's a funny story, a goofy story. So, talking about sucking, a few weeks ago, well, I guess it was actually a month ago, I met my son-in-law. This was before my daughter and him got married. So they came to town and it was just him and I. We were talking about playing video games, and I told him that I didn't really have time to play that much, and I asked him if he played anything. And that's when he says that work sucks off too much of his time. I was like, really? Tell me more about that. His face turned pretty red. That was pretty funny. It came out the wrong way. You know what I mean? I didn't give him too hard of a time over that, but I remembered it. So later in the afternoon, my brother and my dad came over to visit to meet the guy, and I told him what he said. So it's like they introduce each other, they talk a little bit, and then my brother's like, hey, I heard something about like what happens with your time at work. Tell us more about that. He burst out laughing. I was laughing. Pretty much everybody was laughing, except for my daughter. I don't know if she really found it all that funny, but the rest of us did. He handled himself incredibly well. For saying something like that, of course not meaning anything by it, talk about using the wrong words. Thunder, everyone. The storm system is pretty far to our south. That does not pose a threat to us at all. The flash flood watch that I was telling you all about doesn't end until midnight. And then of course, there's a slight chance of rain all night long, but you never know how it's gonna go. Okay, I'm going to turn in. It's already getting late, I'm getting tired, and I want to get up early. Good late evening, everyone. It's almost 10 o'clock. I've been inside of the tent for a while now. It's warm, don't get me wrong, but this fan is making it possible. I'm comfortable enough, definitely to get some sleep. Speaking of which, I am tired. It's been a long day, and I tell you, that heat, it has zapped me. I am beat. Because of that, I'm just gonna go to bed. No movies, nothing. I'm ready for sleep. I will see you all at 5 a.m. unless it begins to rain. Anyways, folks, I will see you all in the morning. Good night for now. Good morning, everyone. It is almost 1 a.m. and there is a thunderstorm out there. I just woke up to a huge clap of thunder. I don't know if we're going to get hit by this storm or if it's just skirting by, but it is out there. Thank goodness there was that clap of thunder. Otherwise, I think the inside of this tent would have got a little bit wet. Let's go, everybody. Let it rain, let it rain. As you all can hear, the rain continues. It's been going on for about an hour now. I looked at the radar just a few minutes ago, and it looks like it's going to rain for the rest of the night. We just had like a series of just like multiple showers redeveloping and whatnot. That means I'm going to sleep great. I've already slept great up to this point, and now I get to listen to it rain, which is nice. I have to say, I am so glad I have my fan because this tent is now 100% sealed up. There's very little airflow inside of this shelter, so having that fan is a godsend, that's for sure. Everyone, I will see you at 5 a.m., which is right around the corner. I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody. Good night again, everybody. The current time is just a little bit after 5 a.m. Good morning, cheers. I see here with this tarp, we have developed a pocket. Look at this ball of water right here. We need to address that before it rips down this entire tarp. Last night we had on and off showers all night long. There were some storms out there, nothing really close, but like every 5 to 10 minutes a flash of lightning, something like that. Because of the rain on the tent, the thunder, I slept so good. I really did, everybody. I am surprised by the rain this morning though. No forecast was calling for that. Welcome to the mountains. Now's a good time for me to tell you the story that I have for you. I was going to tell this during dinner, but dinner was too good. Honestly, by dinner time, I was so wiped out from the heat, I was pretty much done talking. I was ready for bed. I wanted to eat and go to bed. Luckily, things have cooled down quite a bit over the course of the night. It's still warm though, super wet, as you can imagine, but anyways, let me tell you this weird story. So check this out. There's a gas station in town that I like to go to, and it's an older gas station that's been modernized over the years. The store itself has actually been expanded some, but the thing is, originally it was a small piece of land, and it's still a small piece of land. So with this gas station, it's not very wide, but it's rather long. Think of a rectangle, right? A long rectangle. So you have the store itself right here, and you have the gas pumps going this way, and you have numerous aisles. If you were to pull into this gas station, 99.9% of people would either pull alongside the gas station or park on the sides, right? They would not park sideways because that would block all of the traffic from getting to the gas pumps. So the other day, I go to this gas station, I pull into an aisle, and I look over and there's this car, and it is parked directly in front of that store like this, blocking all of the traffic from getting around to those gas pumps. If you saw the shape of this place, you wouldn't do that, right? So I'm pumping gas and I'm keeping an eye on this car, and it's an older lady, and I didn't actually see her come out from the store. She was doing something around the store. I'm not entirely sure what. And when I saw her approaching her vehicle, I don't know, something seemed off. So I just kept watching. She hops in her vehicle and makes a huge scene about backing out and turning around. She goes through one of the pump aisles to where the parking lot exits onto the main road. As she approaches the main road, she doesn't give herself enough space to miss the sidewalk. And I don't remember what type of little car it was that she was driving, something low to the ground. She plows the front of that car right into the sidewalk. And so, crunch, and then starts backing up. By the time I told Susie to call 911, I was approaching the vehicle. The lady had backed up and had pulled out of the parking lot and was driving down the road. I don't know for certain that that woman was drinking, but I saw enough to be suspicious. And if you're suspicious, especially about something like that, where someone could hurt someone else, kill somebody else, you have to act, right? So we called it in and just be like, I don't know exactly what's going on. She appears drunk. That sort of thing. I don't want to make anyone's life difficult, but at the same time, you have to do what's right. So how all of that wrapped up, I have no idea, but it was certainly a weird situation. Anyways, that's my weird story for the morning. People are strange, right? Concerning the Swedish tent behind me here, how well did it perform last night? Incredible. incredibly well. This tent is a great performer, completely waterproof, excellent airflow, but at the same time, it's also incredibly expensive. Is it so good that it's worth $800? I think for most people, absolutely not. This tent does very little more than a $200 to $300 tent, right? What you're paying for with this tent here is the brand name. We call that the Apple tax. It's a brand that has positioned themselves to be like a luxury company, kind of like Arc'teryx sort of thing. A trendy and fashionable brand, if that makes sense. The main material for this tent is a form of seal nylon, very similar to what Hilleberg uses with their tents. With seal nylon, a major con to that fabric is that it stretches. With this tent here, the fabric stretches. Luckily, the design of this tent is so good, that doesn't really matter. But let's say that you had a tarp made from this stuff. It stretches so much, it's almost impossible to use that tarp because you would constantly have to make adjustments to it. This is especially true as the product got wet. The wetter it gets, the more it stretches. With the Fjallraven tarp, that was one of the worst tarps I have ever used. I recommended to the company that they pull it from the market because it was practically worthless. I received an email from the company after my review went up. It was from like the head designer there. Anyways, he was asking me, in what situations would it be beneficial to have a tarp that stretches? And I was like, I can't think of a single one. Can you? I mean, why would you ever want that? All it does is make your life difficult because you constantly have to fiddle with it. You constantly have to make it taut. The last thing that I was told was that the company was going to bring out a new version of that tarp that does not stretch. This material is super strong, but it stretches so bad. It's unbelievable. All fabrics have pros and cons, and with seal nylon, that is a serious con. It's super strong, it's very lightweight, but it stretches like mad. As soon as that sun comes up, folks, this place is going to become so miserable. The high today is supposed to be about the same as yesterday, so you're looking at the upper 80s. With there being so much moisture, that sun is going to come up and begin burning all of that off. It'll be unbelievably awful here. We're almost to the point where it begins cooling down for fall. Towards the end of July is the warmest for here. Once you go into August, it begins cooling down, and I cannot wait. Already, the leaves have begun changing colors. Already in July. It's coming. I'm looking forward to 6 months of no mowing. It's gonna be nice. Testing out these tents from around the world, it's definitely interesting. So far, 1 failure, the Australian swag tent, 2 successes, the tent from Japan, and also the tent from Sweden. The most expensive 2-person tent in the entire world, $800. Now, of course, I'm not talking about handmade ultralight tents or wintertime tents or anything like that. If you had a good time on this adventure, please hit the thumbs up. It's a great way to support this channel. If you want to support the channel in other ways, there's Patreon and YouTube. You could join the Wolf Pack. Next week, we will be out for some sort of backpacking, hiking adventure, and I cannot wait. If you have any recommendations for tents to test out from around the world, countries other than the United States, let me know. I do appreciate it. Folks, be good, be kind, be safe, strength and honor. Bye for now. Cheers.